I've always been a bit of a worrier ever since I was a small child. Worried about everything, worried about if my mum and dad weren't around, and so that's been a constant all the way through my life. The resilience degrades over time and deteriorates until eventually it's gone altogether. It manifested itself in quite an unusual way. Towards the end of 2012, I became fixated on the Mayan end of the world prophecy. And then since that point in time, when it's been at its worst, there have been times when I've become fixated on television shows, or I've become fixated on other things when I've been at my lowest, almost to the point where I have considered taking my own life just to make these things stop.
He was applying for one of the roles in my team, and I was aware and knew that he had mental health issues because he'd been very open with me. And one of the things that resonated with me was that he said that when he declared his mental health issues to the bank, he felt as if his career was going to be over. It really struck a chord that anybody should feel like that, and we needed to create an environment where people felt supported, and it was a mutually beneficial relationship that the bank has with its employees, that we get lots out of them, and in their times of need we need to be able to give something back. And so what we did is have an open conversation about how he felt, about what his mental health issues were, and so I then knew what good looked like for him and whether he was getting into a problem area at work or whether it was getting too much for him.
We sat down to discuss how she could help, and one of the things immediately we did was agree what the signals were that we should look out for, but also that I would keep regular check-ins.
One of the words I hear quite a lot now but I hadn't heard of at the time was being psychologically safe at work. And I think we need to create that environment for every one of the people who works for us. To create an environment where somebody in your team feels able to talk to you about their vulnerabilities is, I think, a very good one, because you start to bring your whole self to work, you start to understand the team dynamic, and you start to understand how you can get the best out of the people who work for you. Even the most seemingly confident of people, even people who sit on the GEC or sit on the board, feel vulnerable. We are human beings.
Things didn't really get any better.
There was just a few meetings where he wasn't really contributing, where he was being quiet, he didn't seem himself. So in response to that, I sort of took him into a room and said, "Are you okay?" And he said no.
Julie then decided to, with discussions with HR, she was really looking for the right way to help and support me, decided to refer me to occupational health. Now, that was a massive shock for me. I thought, this is it, the company's wanted to get rid of me here.
And it's only subsequently, when we've talked about it, that he didn't feel psychologically safe enough to say that at that point.
I went to occupational health, and within sort of having an hour with the consultant, he straight away just said, "You're not fit to work."
And one of the other senior members of my team had rung me up to say they've got a physical health issue and they were going to need to be off work almost with immediate effect for a number of months to have some treatment. So I was sort of thinking, right, how do I reconfigure the team? How do I deal with this? And then in the space of about half an hour, Karl rang me and said, the results of my occupational health review are that they think I should stop work immediately.
To be hit with two people, senior colleagues, saying that to her was tough.
I didn't react in the most beautiful of ways. I just sort of said to him, well, you know, how long are you going to be off for? Because I was just thinking, well, how am I going to manage this within the team?
And I went, I don't know. I had no idea how long. In a way, this was my permission to get better from the occupational health, to stop papering over the cracks, but to actually do something right about it. So I went away from that conversation feeling even more guilty and worrying that I'd let Julie and the team down.
I did think about how I had responded during the day, and I thought, well, that probably didn't feel great from his perspective.
Julie phoned me back, must be a couple of hours later, and said, "Karl, don't worry.
We will work it out.
It'll get sorted.
You take whatever time you need.
I want you to concentrate on getting better." And that was fantastic, because that then released the guilt, it released the worry, and gave me permission to get better.
Just don't be afraid of them. Almost everybody will suffer from mental health issues in their life to varying degrees, and we're very accepting of physical health issues because we see them, we talk about them, everybody feels that it's perfectly fine to have physical health issues, and we're getting to the point where people are being more open about mental health issues. And my advice to any line manager is, 1, to encourage it, and 2, to accept that you sometimes will make mistakes. Sometimes it won't be perfect, but generally if you try and put the colleague first and you try and do the right thing, it will probably land in the right way.